Welcome to another episode of the Sports Bros Podcast, featuring the Almighty B Live, the Money Man Scottie D, and your host, the head of creative, Eddy Kool. And without any further ado, let's give it up for the Sports Bros. Hey, what's going on, world? This be your boy, Eddy Kool, a.k.a. the HOC, here at your favorite sports podcast, none other than the Sports Bros Podcast, and this is episode number 92. I'm not going to put none of my co-hosts on the spotlight this week. I was going to say it. Famous number 92s. Let's see. We got Reggie White and Michael Strahan.
Don't forget. Number 92, Tony Tolbert for the 1992 Super Bowl champion Dallas Cowboys.
That's right. Number 92, Tony Tolbert. And also another number
92, Tony Tolbert for the 92 champions.
Did he start?
Oh, yeah, he was good.
Yeah, he was good.
He was good.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Thanks for that bit. Now, I was over here like, who? Like, I remember a lot of names. I just know Tony Tolbert's not one of them. The 92 Cowboys. All right.
Yep, the 1992 Cowboys. One more number 92. Hockey player Michael Nylander. Nobody really don't know him, but that's okay. We celebrate all number 92s on this edition, the 92nd edition of the Sports Bros Podcast. Yep, those two voices you heard, I got both my co-hosts back together at the same damn time. Introducing first the Almighty B Live.
All right. What's happening? What's going on in the world today? Let's start off by asking, did you just call us co-hostess?
Yeah, co-hostesses with the mostesses.
Okay. I was like, there's only one S in C-O-H-O. There's two S's in co-host. I had to stop myself. Why are we going off tangent like this?
I don't know. We just started.
I don't know. It don't make a
damn bit of difference. It does.
Oh, man. All right. Well, you hear me now. I guess you can go ahead and introduce that other guy on the show.
All right. And the other guy of the show, currently buried in 90,000 feet of snow, the pride of Washington, Pennsylvania, none other than the Money Man, Scottie D.
Oh, it's cold. It's cold here, boys. It's cold. Too much snow, too much cold. But guys, I do want to say, today as we record, it is Martin Luther King Day. And working with my two African-American co-hosts, I wish you both a great day. I think Dr. King would be probably a little disappointed in the way things are going in this country right now. So you know what he would do if he were here? He'd listen to the Sports Bros Podcast to get away from it all. So that's what we're going to do is stick to sports and have a little fun here.
I just want to take a mention while you were mentioning Martin Luther King Day that I raised a fist and realized that there's no video, it's just audio.
Yeah.
But it was almost like it's an automatic thing. I was like, Martin Luther King, power to the people. All right, cool. But moving on. All right, I've embarrassed myself twice in the first 5 minutes.
And I didn't even have to do anything.
No. I'm doing your job for you. All right, Eddy Kool. I digress.
Made it easy. So we already got one digression and two embarrassments in less than 5 minutes. It's going to be a great podcast. Fellas, the divisional round. Why do they call it the divisional round? I don't understand it. Okay, we got the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. We got the Rams versus the Packers. The Packers at home, they beat the Rams 32-18. The Bills and the Ravens. The Bills defeat the Ravens 17-3. And on Sunday, we had the Kansas City Chiefs and the Cleveland Browns. Chiefs win 22-17. And another division round, the Saints and the Buccaneers. Tom Brady and them, they win by 10 at 30-20, which might be Drew Brees' last game in the Superdome as suspected. But we're going to start at the top first. Okay, fellas, what do we think of the Ravens and the Bills game? Be live. You first.
That the Ravens are a completely different team without Lamar Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
I expected this game to go like I've felt that the Bills were the better team. And unfortunately, we're left with Lamar Jackson still having a lot to prove. He wasn't able to display his talent again, clutch time, postseason. And then people are still going to question his greatness and his ability as a quarterback as he's starting to slip into that, he's just another Michael Vick, which at first I thought he was going to be able to overcome that shadow and that moniker. But I'm still even more and more at the end of the day, I'm really, really starting to believe in Josh Allen. That kid, the way he's been balling this season, man, right now, let's take this back. The Bills in the AFC Championship game. I can't wait to see it. Man, it's gonna be awesome. Yes, sir.
Scottie D.
Yeah, this game wasn't as exciting or as fun to watch I thought it was going to be, and I think a lot of that was weather related. It was only what did the final score end up being? 17-3. Is that what?
17-3. A very, very low scoring affair.
Yeah, and I think for the Bills going forward, they got to figure out a way to run the ball a little bit more. I don't think they handed off for the first time until like 4 minutes left in the first half. It was all on Josh Allen, which is great, but you got to be able to run the ball. And B-Live, as your point with Lamar Jackson, this guy's got to start being able to scare teams more with this passing. I think he only had 35, 39 yards rushing, something like that. He didn't throw a touchdown pass. He threw a pick, and that was the biggest play of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So, he was, I know they weren't really the same without him, but that was a very small part of the game. And give that kid, what was his name, Huntley, that came in, give him credit. He actually, he stood in there and moved them down the field pretty well for a guy who, was like their fourth string quarterback and didn't get first team reps all week. So credit to that kid for stepping in when he did. But Lamar Jackson made the mistake of the game. They were going in to possibly tie the game, and instead he throws an interception that goes 101 yards the other way. So he's got to get better at throwing the ball. I think he can throw. I just think that I think he gives up on his reads too soon a lot of times. And if you're a receiver on that team, it's got to be frustrating to go out there and run routes and turn around and your quarterback's already pulled the ball down and he's moving. So I think that's something they really need to address if they're going to take the next step as far as competing. He's probably the most exciting guy in the league to watch because you don't know what's going to happen when he drops back. Is he going to sling it or is he going to take off? And you can't catch him. He's like a jackrabbit out there. He's amazing, but he's got to get better at being able to stand in the pocket and throw in the ball. But the Bills, man, I tell you, they're doing just what they have to do to win the game. Like I said, I think that was a tough game for both teams because of the wind. The wind was a huge factor in that game. I mean, look at the Ravens kicker hitting both crossbars. I mean, the Bills goalpost had 2 blocks in the first quarter, I think it was. But Buffalo, man, you got to be happy for them. It's been since 93, 94, something like that, since they've been to a championship game, and good for them, man. They got a fan base that loves their team, and they're getting rewarded. And got a tall task next week. I'm getting a little ahead of myself on that one. So, Eddie, let me sling it back to you here, buddy.
Stefan, get the tables. Yeah, that's a Bills Mafia reference for putting people through tables. I think Baltimore. What Baltimore need is they need to find a big time playmaking wide receiver. If I'm them, I'm going after Allen Robinson or Kenny Galladay, or somebody that can really, make an impact for them in the passing game as well, too. I mean, yeah, you got Hollywood Brown, and then you got the remnants of Dez Bryant out there, but the Dez Bryant now ain't the same as the Dez Bryant from a handful of years ago. So they really have to figure out something on that side of the ball. All right, gentlemen, the game next up, we got the Packers and the Rams. Scottie D, you first.
No, I really don't think there's a lot to get into when it comes to this game. The better team won. The Rams, I think of all the teams that were remaining in the playoffs this weekend, the Rams were the least they were the least talented, the worst team. You know, Goff obviously was not the same even before he hurt his thumb. So that's going to be an issue for the Rams going forward. The defense of the Rams is their strength, but they were going against presumably the MVP in the league this week. The Packers are just a better team with a better quarterback, and I thought that was kind of easy to see that one coming.
Well, I'm going to say this. I am a little bit disappointed, simply because I go from last week saying defense wins championships to the number one offense beating the number one defense in the NFL. But then again, it's Aaron Rodgers, and he's a bad man.
Yeah.
But one thing I noticed in this game is I think we may have found Jalen Ramsey's kryptonite, because Devontae Adams was shaking him left and right. I'm like, wow. Just watching it live, I'm like, Jalen Ramsey, you looking slightly suspect out there trying to guard Devontae Adams. And that right there, that is just, to a Hall of Fame quarterback, to see your guy just shake off the top cornerback in the league time and time again. It's too easy.
They're clicking.
It was too easy.
They're clicking right now. The Packers offense is clicking.
So that is going to be very interesting. They moved with ease against the number one defense. We'll see what happens in the NFC Championship. Yes, sir.
Yep, they Aaron Rodgers completed passes to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different receivers, including Marquez Valdez-Scantling. He didn't drop something for the first time in forever, but then we got to see it. And then we got to see a guy that was on B-Live team, fantasy football team this season, Alan Lazard, and Equimenius St. Brown. Yes, we have an Equimenius sighting.
Did he have a catch? I didn't see him once. Did he have a catch this weekend?
Yes, sir. He had one catch for 27 yards.
Okay, all right. Good for him.
Yeah, but Equimenius St. Brown, and Aaron Jones did what he did best. And Aaron Rodgers is just on fire. So fellas, was this game another bring on the water moment?
Yep. Yeah. Again, like I said last week, I said defense wins championships, but if you really just, I don't have too many words really. Just Green Bay is just that much.
Yeah, and keep in mind too, man. I know I mentioned this before, but in the past, there's always been the top two teams had bye weeks, and this year only two teams, the Chiefs and the Packers. Typically, those teams move on. I think the Rams were banged up a little bit. That's a tired, beat up team, and they're going against a team that's the superior team with the extra week's rest. So I didn't think that was that difficult to see that one coming.
No, not really. Not at all. All right, fellas, moving on to Sunday. Here we go. We got the Cleveland Browns and the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs win 22, Browns 17. Fellas, what do you think about that game? You first, be live.
I think that it is time for the NFL to review the fumble out of the end zone being a touchback. I really because in other instances, if the offense, if I'm not mistaken, help me out with this rule. Help me out with the fumble rule. Because if you're in the regular field and the ball is fumbled forward and the offense recovers it, you don't get those extra yards.
Yeah.
Right?
You do.
Yeah, you do.
You get the extra yards.
Yeah, but I think if you fumbled into the end, how's the rule? Only the guy that fumbled it can recover it. I think if it's in like the last 2 minutes of a game, if he fumbles it forward to the end zone, it's something like that. I'm not 100% on that rule, but there's something to that effect.
Something silly, probably.
But it's also like you fumble it out of bounds, the offense has to keep the ball.
True,
but if
yes.
you fumble it, if you fumble it out of bounds in the end zone,
the other team gets it for something.
The other team gets a touchback. What?
Yeah, I've heard this debate before, and I kind of agree with you. I think.
So yeah, I just think it's time. I think it's time to review that because I mean, red zone turnovers is the second time we're mentioning that are detrimental. That you've driven all the way down the field, you get that close to you will literally a pinky toenail. I was about to say something that was inappropriate.
Follicle.
I really was. I said, "Oh, I cannot say that on the air. I don't think." But they were that close to, and then for the fumble out of bounds, as opposed to fumbling in the end zone for a touchback, as opposed to fumbling. Nobody recovers it, and you get the ball at the 1 yard line. And on top of that, how they missed that helmet to helmet, glaring helmet to helmet hit.
Yeah.
So I hate the fact that it came down to officiating. I just feel like that was sort of deflating to the Browns. And yes, I still think that Kansas City is the better team, but man. For the Browns to have that, make it a 5-point game, and to have that turnover that's very questionable at best, man.
Yeah, that ended up turned out to be a huge play in that game because I think it was 16-3 at the time he fumbled, and it was Rashard Higgins was the kid that fumbled, and that's one of those things, man. He wasn't being careless with the ball or anything. He was trying to make a play. He was trying to score. You know, that wasn't something stupid that happened where he made a mental error or anything. He was going for it. But I agree, though. Why does the other team get rewarded by getting the ball? I mean, if they don't recover, I think maybe the rule should be you get the ball back on the 20. Or maybe your punishment is that you get to push the ball back to the 20. But if the other team doesn't recover it, yeah, I'm with you. I don't know.
Well, that was slightly ridiculous, but I would say give the offense the ball back because again, there was no recovery. Yeah. It just like, and if you fumble it out of bounds, it doesn't move forward or anything. It just goes back to the point of where you fumbled for progress of you when you controlled the ball. So why is it a complete turnover when nobody recovered the ball? I don't know.
Yeah, but nonetheless, that is the way the rule is currently set up, and that was a big one because instead of being down 16-10 at that point, Kansas City gets the ball and goes down and makes it 19-3 at the half. Second half, they only scored 3 points. Cleveland made a huge comeback, and then obviously the big injury to Mahomes was a huge turning point of that game. Baker Mayfield played okay. I mean, he had one interception, he had a touchdown, but to me, he looked like he looked like he belonged there. You know, I didn't see him as much as the game manager trying not to lose it for his team in that game as I did early in the year. But the Browns are another team. Like I was talking about with the Rams earlier, the Browns were really banged up too. Their offensive line was all kind of messed up. You know, it's again, they were a team that was in must-win mode for several weeks and, you know, had to lay it out on the line. Kansas City's been resting for a couple weeks, which surprisingly, they've got a little bit of injury problems too. I guess we'll get into that here in a few minutes as we talk about what's going on next week. But they've got a little bit of injury problems as well. But go ahead, Eddie. I know we have another game to talk about here before we move on.
And the grand finale of the divisional round, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the New Orleans Saints in the 5-0-4. And the Bucs win 30-20. Scottie D, what's your take on this game between two of the old dudes?
It's kind of funny. I don't know if you guys saw the graphic on one of the networks showed before the game, but in the NFC, the youngest quarterback was Jared Goff at age 27. And in the AFC, the oldest quarterback was Mahomes at age 25. I thought that was kind of interesting that all the old dudes were in the NFC. I think the old dude thing showed a little bit with Breeze. And I told you guys, I mean, I'm not doing a whole I told you so, but, you know, we were doing our predictions, and I kept saying I was waiting for the Saints annual heartbreak. And that's the only reason I didn't pick them to win this game, is because I thought that something crazy was going to happen. And it kind of did to the tune of 3 turnovers. And the hugest one in this game was actually a fumble. I believe they were up 20-13 driving, had a fumble that went the other way. Brady throws a touchdown pass to Fournette. Then they get the ball back, drive the field again. Brady completes 2 big third down to guys who combined for 2 catches on the day. One was Scottie Miller, and I forget the other young man who made that great turning catch on that 3rd and 5 on the sideline. But then when Breeze tried to make his comeback, it looked to me like he just didn't have the arm strength. It looks to me like Breeze needs to be done. I mean, I love the guy. I've enjoyed his career. I've loved watching him. I think he's been a class act and a great player, but I just think his tank is just about empty, kind of the way we were talking about Big Ben last week. Be Live, what say you on that?
It does not do a 40-plus-year-old quarterback deep into the season, into the playoffs, to not complete one pass to your
Yeah,
number
very
one
strange.
receiver. Very. Michael Thomas, goose egg. He's on the side of a milk carton right now because he did not show up. That just doesn't help Drew Brees at all. Because that's his go-to. That is that's your confidence builder. I know I can get the ball to Michael Thomas because literally he's led the league he was hurt this year, but last year he just had all the receptions. It was ridiculous. Like they were counting how many. Did he actually break the record for receptions?
He did.
Like I want to say he's the NFL record holder for receptions. So yeah, 0. Yeah, that does not help. And when you draw up a trick play for Jameis Winston, your backup quarterback, to throw a touchdown to sort of get the game moving, is also not necessarily a good thing. It helps it to trickery and change the momentum. But if that ends up having to be your go-to because you're not clicking as an offense.
They looked out of sync, didn't they?
Yeah.
They looked out of sync.
So, Tom Brady moves on again and another championship and there's another
Where are the
memes
from week 1? Where are all the Brady hating memes? Week 1, Brady was done. His career was over. He was crying. Yeah, and here he is in the championship.
Yeah, they said Tom Edward Gerald Fitzgerald III Brady was over with. They was trying to write him off. I thought about writing him off, but I'm like, look, it's only 1 game into the season, and then he came back with a vengeance.
I wrote him off because I don't like him. Like Tom Brady. Here's the thing. I've always been an underdog fan my entire life. I just never liked the kid that just has everything. And Tom Brady has freaking everything. I guess I'm sounding like a hater.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. He's got the beautiful wife. He's just got that cookie cutter just look.
Great head of hair.
That wants to make me just want to punch him in the face. And now he's on his way to, this is now what, his
14th championship?
14th conference championship, first in the NFC.
That's ridiculous. So yeah, maybe my haterism and my haterade sipping self, just the greatest of all time, Tom Brady.
And a lot of guys were saying he was a system quarterback in New England. I guess he took the system with him.
I look at it like this. Bill Belichick is at home making golf reservations to go to Myrtle Beach. Tom Brady is getting ready to play in a 14th conference championship game with a possible shot to be the first team in the history of the NFL to have a home game at the site of the freaking Super Bowl. You know how that's a big deal. That's a big deal. And it's kind of a classic case of who needs who. Well, we're going to find out.
No, you know what? No. Stop it. No. You know what? Tom Brady went from Bill Belichick to Bruce Arians. Really not that much of a drop-off. It's the coaching. Bruce Arians gets my credit. That stuff about Tom Brady being the greatest of all time, all that other stuff I said, you can just edit that out of the podcast. No, it's Bruce Arians. He's my dude. It's the coach.
It's the coach. B-Live said it's the damn coach.
It's not. I'm saying it's not that much of a drop off. Bruce Arians is that dude, and he can wear the heck out of a fedora.
Yeah, he can.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, Bruce Arians.
Well, but in all those games, it came down to the turnovers. I mean, you know, like I said, Lamar Jackson was about to tie the game. He threw a turnover that turned into a touch on the opposite way. Saints were trying to ice the game. They turned it over. And when Brees trying to come back, he turns it over. The Browns, if they don't fumble through the end zone and turn it over, maybe that's a different ball game. The turnovers were the difference in this weekend.
Yes, that is a very good takeaway, kind.
Yeah, turnovers against you, man. You guys are wild. Turnovers against you.
Turn down for what?
We are getting along very good on King Day, aren't we? This is a peaceful podcast.
What in the world's going on? Maybe I need MLK Day to happen 3 times out the month. What in the hell's going on?
We are getting along.
You guys been drinking water, or you got some fun juice, or what the hell's going on? I mean, am I invited to the party?
Oh man, this just feels good. I don't know why.
Good. Devin White had an interesting comment during the post-game interview. He asked defensive coordinator Todd Bowles. He said, "Coach, what do we look like?" He said, "Y'all look like a bunch of MFers that's about to win the game and find a way to win. That's what you look like." I was like, "Okay, Todd Bowles. Somebody get Todd Bowles a job. Like, he got a raw deal in New York, but somebody get Todd Bowles a job, man. If he can motivate those guys like that, man." Yeah, Devin White had a stellar game, 10 tackles and an interception. Yep. And so next week, fellas, guess what we got? We got the conference championships for the NFC. We got Green Bay and Tampa Bay. Oh, Battle of the Bays. Scottie D. What did Chris Berman used to call this?
Bay of Pigs. I can't remember. Bay
of Pigs. Yeah, something to that.
Wait, see, Eddy Kool, you did it again. You got to prepare us for this. You said that with confidence, like Scott just knew that off rip. No.
Scottie D's a trivia guy. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's why I went to him. I'm like, all right, he got this.
I failed you on that one, but maybe he did say. I can't remember. Berman used to have a lot of things to say. I can't keep track of all his stuff, but
yeah, Battle of the Bays or something like that. Yeah. So Tom Brady and them, they got to go to very, very cold Green Bay, Wisconsin. And let me tell you, Wisconsin in January ain't a place you want to be. Trust me, I know. I was there last year. You don't want to be there. You don't want to be there. All right.
Well, thank you, Google. But Scottie D, you were actually right.
The Bay of Pigs.
They coined the Bay of Pigs.
Ding 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 ding. Yes.
So, boom, he was spot on.
Keep them coming, Eddy Kool. Keep them coming.
There we go.
You can't catch the money man.
Can't catch him slipping. He don't care. You don't care if he is on 1,000 feet of snow. I'll find that answer.
Nice.
I'll find that answer. All right, fellas, and over in the American Football Conference, we got the Kansas City Chiefs. They play host to the Buffalo Bills. All right, fellas, here we go. Who do we think is going to punch that ticket to go to this year's Super Bowl? In the NFC, who you got, Scottie D?
Well, I at the beginning of the playoffs, I recognized that Green Bay was playing at a very high level, and I said they would look good enough to beat Kansas City, and I'm going to stick with that. I'm still saying Green Bay is going to win the whole thing. So I think Tom Brady's won his last game of the season. I think it's a tall task for him to play again without, like I said, he didn't have the bye week, and I think he's going to run into some problems up there and throwing the cold football. Not like he's not used to it, but I just think Aaron Rodgers is playing at an incredibly high level right now, and I think this is Green Bay's year.
Be live.
I'm going to say simply this. This season should be dedicated to Jordan Love.
The inspiration.
Because if he did not become the biggest chip on somebody's shoulder I have ever seen.
Interesting strategy.
Aaron Rodgers, like, it's like, that sort of worked out. That's picking a quarterback and a replacement for our Hall of Fame quarterback, that might have just sparked a little bit of a fire. Yes, Green Bay will beat Tampa Bay. I'm not all the way there with Green Bay being able to beat Kansas City. I think we're both riding off we will get there in just a second. But the way I feel about Green Bay has dramatically changed from the beginning of the season. They are a very capable football team. Because at first, when we started off this season, Green Bay didn't have any weapons. We were all talking about the fact that they still haven't drafted a first-round wide receiver. And I thought that was what they needed coming into this year. But Aaron Rodgers will find a way. Devontae Adams is Devontae Adams. Allen Lazard is coming up. He's up and coming. He could be a number one wide receiver for plenty of teams. Scantling,
Jesus Christ. Anyway, dropsies.
And Equanimous and the rest of his family with okay, listeners, Google the St. Brown family. Google Equanimous St. Brown, and it actually will list his siblings and just look at the names. I'm telling you, you are welcome in advance. All right, cool.
You thought you thought the Tiger King was something. It's not as bad as the Tiger King, but it's the St. Browns. They're an interesting family, and and that's all I got to say about that. All right, fellas. So we agree. Green Bay is going to the Super Bowl representing the NFC. In the AFC, we got the Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills. Who we got, fellas? It's you, Scottie D.
I'm changing my mind on this one. I think Buffalo's pulling the upset.
Oh?
Yeah, I think.
Record scratch?
And just because, like I said, Kansas City in the first half yesterday looked like they flipped the switch, but yet they were settling for field goals. They didn't completely flip the switch. I think they're a little banged up. They don't have Sammy Watkins. They don't have Edwards-Helaire. For some reason, Le'Veon Bell only carried twice for 6 yards. Coming into this week, their cornerback Breeland's hurt. Not to mention Patrick Mahomes. Now, he got the concussion. They're expecting him to be recovered enough so that they say he's doing pretty well. But he also hurt his toe, and that he was laboring pretty good on that toe in the first half before he went out. So is that going to be a factor in his mobility? Buffalo to me just looks like they're clicking. Now I know they're without Moss, their running back, and their running has been suspect. Obviously, the last couple weeks, they got T.J. Yeldon in there, who wasn't even on the team a month ago, I think.
Who?
Right? T.J. Yeldon is suiting up. I just think Kansas City has looked beatable. We'll just say that. I just think they can be beat. Now, if they go out there and blow Buffalo out by 28 points, that won't shock me either. But I don't think it's going to happen. I'm gonna ride the momentum that Buffalo's carrying right now.
Beeline.
I like your argument, Scottie D. I'm with it. I just still feel like I've seen Kansas City, even when they're down, they will find ways to win games. And that right there is just that's the textbook definition of greatness. Even when you're down, they will find a way. The grit, the resolve, just the creativity.
But I've also seen Andy Reid find ways to lose games in the past too. And that was kind of a shaky finish on Sunday.
Yeah.
It could have went bad. It really could have went bad.
First down on 3rd and 14, practically runs for 13.5 yards. I mean, get a stop there, Cleveland. That game could have gone completely different if they can just stop Chad Henne from running for 13.5 yards and then throwing for a first down on fourth and a half a yard. I think Andy Reid in the past has made some gaffes. And I think he's gotten away with some stuff the last couple of years. Not that he's not a great coach, but he's still Andy Reid. Hey, it can happen.
Fellas, just to let you know, anything is possible.
Anything is possible.
Oh dear God. Oh, that just hurt. That hurt me to the core. Wow, we had such cohesion that you come with that. But I want to say this. Scottie D, I want you to answer this. What's the difference between a gaffe and
Well,
genius?
timing, I guess. Things that work and things that don't. Yeah. So,
right. Because all I've seen throughout all the commentary, all the analysts, they said that was a genius play. That 4th and 1, what was a play action pass, and went for it to ice, and went for it to ice the game, and everybody saying it's genius.
That's right.
Because so I don't know. I just like the way Kansas City they find ways to win games. And this thing, Andy Reid, yes, has found ways to lose games in the past, and I think that also goes into play with Philadelphia. And that's just whatever. But right now, and this was also brought up when I was doing my little morning watching of sports. His offensive coordinator, defense coordinator, and a couple other lead assistants on MLK Day, brothers. And I think they'll keep him from just, keep him in line from making those gaffes come in the AFC Championship. And it's going to be Kansas City, Green Bay Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I've been saying all along. But this Mahomes getting banged up thing, it bothers me a little bit. I mean, even if he plays next week, he might. We don't know. He might still be a little woozy in the game planning part. I mean, he might be a little foggy. So we'll see. That's why I'm going that way.
I want to pull up because we discussed it in a few episodes back. Was who was going to be the team to stop Kansas City, and I will say, like at the end of the day, the Bills are equipped for it. So it's also the last chance for the AFC to stop Kansas City. But yeah, it's going to be I think it's going to be a close game. It's definitely not going to be a 28-point blowout. I think Bills catch the lead early. I say they're up by 10, and then third quarter Kansas City just starts being Kansas City again. And they win by 3.
I hope
they win by
I hope we see
Kansas
something like that. I hope we see 2 good games on Sunday. I don't want to see blowouts. I love this time of year watching good football games.
Yep. All right. So let's see. That leaves me, Eddy Kool. I'm going to pick Uncle Max's favorite team and Kerry Lockman's favorite team, the Green Bay Packers, represent the NFC because it's cold. It's a big temperature differential between Tampa Bay and Green Bay. And Kansas City, they're going to find a way to win. They'll find a way to win. So, my prediction for the Super Bowl, Green Bay and Kansas City. Scottie D, who are you picking for the Super Bowl?
I'm going Bills and Pack.
Be live.
Kansas City and Green Bay.
Yep. Well, fellas, guess what? Not too long from now, we'll probably be 100 episodes in, and we'll be near the Super Bowl, fellas. Wow, near the Super Bowl. 2 weeks of coverage. Spoiler alert, just to let you know, we here at the Sports Bros Podcast, we ain't going to be talking about football for 2 whole weeks. Just going to put it out there right now. Just when the games happen or a couple days before the game, we might talk about it. But we ain't finna spend no 14 days talking about the damn Super Bowl. Are you serious?
This is the opportune time because the games that now there's only 3 more games of football to talk about. Like again, we've talked at length, but yeah, we're gonna throw in a couple more sports. This is starting to come into the thick of college basketball, hockey, NBA. We're gonna switch it up a little bit.
And before we switch up a little bit, fellas, guess what? Some guys got some jobs. Yes, some NFL coaching vacancies have been filled. Not by any of us or any of our listeners from the Choices of the Voices section next week or from last week. Scottie D's picked to go to the Jaguars. Urban Meyer, yep, he gets the job. The Chargers, they get Brandon Staley.
Yeah,
who?
Don't know.
Yep. The Falcons get another dude named Arthur. Arthur Smith. Detroit and Philly are still vacant, and Houston's still vacant too. And the Jets get Robert Saleh as well 2. All right, fellas. So we have a few coaching vacancies left and some filled up. Urban Meyers to the Jags. Are we surprised?
I'm a little surprised because his health has always been a concern. That's why he left Ohio State, was because of his health. Now you take on a NFL job. Let me make this perfectly clear. Urban Meyer, you have one job. That's one job. Take care of my boy, Trevor Lawrence. That's all. Just make sure he has a good career. Start him off right, and you ain't got to worry about nothing from me. You start him off wrong, I'll make the trip to Jacksonville. We'll talk about it. I said what I said on the air. All roads lead to Denver.
All right, Scottie D. Of course, you're not surprised by Urban Meyer. You think it's good, horrible, good hire, bad
no,
hire?
As I said last week, I think it's a bad hire, and it's the fact that he's had the health problems. He's not been an NFL guy. He's already talking about hiring Scott Linehan. That was the Cowboys trash that we took out a couple seasons ago. Took that trash out. He's going to go recycle it. No, I don't think that's going to be a good hire. I don't think he's going to be like a long-term guy. I think he'll be there 2, maybe 3 years. The one I'm waiting to see is there's still 2 vacancies left, Houston and Philly. Is that correct?
3. Detroit, Houston. I told you nobody.
I think Detroit's going to hire Dan Campbell. I think.
Yep. Yeah, I think they're going to hire Dan
Campbell.
That
looks close to being done. And so I think that's going to leave Philly and Houston. And it just makes me wonder, one of those guys going to grab up Eric Bieniemy. He was the guy that everyone said was the hot candidate. I think Philly's got a chance. I think Philly's also going to interview Josh McDaniels, but I think Philly may end up taking Eric Bieniemy.
Oh, Lord. Josh McDaniels, the guy that dresses like a 12-year-old and walks funny.
Yeah.
The guy that balks at jobs. Man, look, he better stay on that Bill Belichick train for as long as he can, because I wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole.
Now might be the time to bail on that Patriots boat. But the Philly job seems like a mess right now. I mean, I don't know. I've also heard that Jeffrey Lurie wants to interview a lot of candidates just to get a lot of input to see what would you do to the experts out there about the Carson Wentz Jalen Hurts situation. So that seat's still open, and I think. I don't know. Maybe these last couple of years has worked against Eric Bieniemy that the Chiefs are playing so late into the. They're still playing while these other guys are coming available. I know he's done the interviews and heard he did them well. We'll see.
I think Houston was talking about.
If Houston's smart, they just hire him right now because they got a problem with their quarterback down there.
They got a big problem. I'm going to put this out here. I would not mind Deshaun Watson in a Panthers uniform.
Looks good to me. I love it.
I'm just saying I would not. Okay, and let me say this real quick. I'm sorry. Because I'm part of a couple Carolina Panther groups on Facebook. Stop trying to trade away Christian McCaffrey. What are you? Stop it. Oh, I don't know. Oh God, it hurt. Like
I think the Panthers should trade Christian McCaffrey.
Why would you? Oh,
he want to get beat up.
God, I don't. I get it. I get it because of the simple fact that having both of those contracts it would be hurtful to a salary cap.
You're in a rebuild,
but
you need picks. If someone's willing to take that contract, you deal it. I mean, that's the way you got to go. You can get other running backs if you're in a rebuild. Why pay one guy whenever you're not going to win yet anyway? You got to start with I think Carolina's got to start with quarterback. We're getting a little off track here, but anyway, that's kind of how I feel.
Well, we'll cover most of this in our
exactly
season and what need to be done to all 32 teams in the NFL. Hey, fellas, guess
What's
what?
going on, Eddy Kool?
It's time for our favorite part of the show, and And with that being said, your button, hit it.
And now, our favorite part of the show, the choices of the voices.
Once again, thank you to the wonderful and ever so lovely Miss Button for her introducing the favorite portion of our show. We, the Sports Bros, the Almighty Beeline, the HOC Eddy Kool, the Money Man Scottie D, us tree, and then y'all two, the choices of the voices segments. We ask the question, you give us the answers, we talk about it, we gonna pick at you. Just let you know, if you come here with some foolishness, we gonna get you for real, okay? We gonna get you for real. I think I purposely skipped over some foolishness. I wish I would have included it, but guess what? We're neither here nor there. And with that being said, before I run out of breath again, Scottie D, what's the question for this week's Choices of the Voices?
All right, the question I asked was, who is the best current quarterback in the NFL to have not won a Super Bowl ring? I know a couple people got confused and they were throwing out like some of the Warren Moon, Dan Marino answers, but it was asking who is playing currently in the NFL without a ring, best quarterback. And actually, before I give it back to you, Eddie, I wanted to mention I got a private message from the man that's been missing lately, and that's Matty Ice. Matty Ice.
Hey, Matty Ice.
Matty Ice has been in Facebook jail, evidently. Hard to believe that would happen, but he said he's been in Facebook jail, and so he hasn't been able to get to us. But he assured us he's still checking us out. But he wanted me to say that Philip Rivers is the answer to this question, and that's because when he was playing in San Diego, the Patriots kept eliminating him. So there's a little way to get his Patriots back on the map here. But Matty Ice goes with Philip Rivers, and I'm going to swing it back to you, Eddy Kool. I just want to give Matty a shout-out.
Free Matty Ice. Free Matty Ice. Free Matty Ice. Yeah, we can't censor sports, but it's Matty Ice. Free, damn it, free Matty. We got to put some money on his books or something, on his virtual books.
Right,
or something.
right.
Yeah. What's your
Bitcoin?
Yeah, Bitcoin. What's your cash app? I'll toss you enough money to go to the store and get you a pack of nabs. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, shout out to the pack of nabs. Wonderful. All right, here we go. Clinton Williams. What's going on, Clinton? Man, I think it's the first time we've had Clinton Williams up in here. Clinton Williams, he said Mitch Trubisky, but it was
it'd be the last time we have him on there with that answer. The penalty box. Did he have some jokes?
It was a sarcastic gif that says,
"Yeah,
I'm not that good," but it was funny though. So shout out to Clayton Williams for the ha. Paul Odom, he said Cam Newton.
Now, the only problem I have is this is sort of fanboy of me. The only problem I have with that answer is simply not current Cam Newton, but 2015 Cam Newton's what I feel like that's because there's a few people that mentioned Cam.
Mm-hmm.
I just Scottie D, help me out real quick. Help me out with the question, like in its context.
Well, I would say that if you're evaluating on a career, it's kind of your own interpretation of it. It's a guy that's in the league playing, or that's in the league. Doesn't even have to. You could say Matt Schaub. He was on the roster this year. If that is who you're so inclined to choose, but it doesn't have to be the current version. You can, because like Matty Ice picked Philip Rivers. Obviously, this version this year was not as good as the same guy was 10 years ago. But that, it's kind of your own evaluation of it.
Gotcha. All right. Cam Newton.
I mean,
right,
I think
cool.
Cam Newton's a very fair answer. A guy who was a former league MVP, and he's right there in the Super Bowl. So I would say that's a pretty good answer.
Yep, that's a pretty good answer. All right, Paul Odom. Yeah, Cam Newton. Yep, that's a good one. Trey Dizzle. He got any foolishness this week?
I bet he does.
He did say Tony Romo, but then Scottie D had to reroute him back to the highway. Now, not today, not yesterday. Today, not yesterday. He said right now in the league, the answer is 1,000 million, a bunch of doggone 0%. Philip Rivers. If that guy had been on a real team like Pittsburgh, New England, Green Bay, he'd have multiple rings easily. He got stuck with so many terrible coaches and assistants, but still put up some insane numbers. For a while, man, Philip Rivers was top 5.
Philip Rivers, to me, I always felt like he was Tony Romo West because he was another guy who was a super talented quarterback and had some just bad coaching. He suffered through Norv Turner for a few years, for crying out loud. God's sakes.
Ugh, of all people, Norv Turner.
Oh, boy, I'm inclined to agree, because he it was like the perfect storm of just wrong. Like, and not only having to face freaking New England time and time again, just like, I mean, there probably in the mix, there were probably some good Bills and Jets teams. I'm just speaking just on other teams in the AFC that had to face New England every year.
Yeah.
And so that was definitely one thing. And yeah, the coaching carousel for the San Diego's Superchargers. Yeah, it was rough for him. And he has put up numbers. Now, I will ask this for the fellas real quick question. Hall of Fame, Phillip Rivers?
Yes.
Yeah, put him in there.
Yes.
All right. Cool.
Put him in there, because I mean, look what he did with Antonio Gates. Like what? I forgot, like 100 plus like touchdown receptions.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So they're both going in, him and Gates both. Not to mention also in that division at the time, Kansas City, they weren't all that good, but they always played tough. And not to mention having, playing them twice a year and then playing Denver twice a year. The Raiders, not so much. Yeah, he was a kind of like a victim of circumstance, if you want to say that. Moving right along, we got the only person to redeem himself and get up out the penalty box, the one, the only, the legendary Jana Clem, and she said Cam Newton. So that's 2 for Cam.
Nice.
All right.
It's pretty much in the same lines with Paul, and just he's had a great career. Just unfortunate, Carolina did him dirty, and he's a shell of him former self. But he was a former MVP, and oh man, I missed that year so much. Sorry, my bad, fanboy.
Yeah,
came back to me again. All right,
that was a great year though. That was a great year. Uncle Max, he said, "How about Matthew Stafford?" He said, "I hope he finds a good home next year."
I think he's a lot like Phillip Rivers, a guy who puts up numbers.
Yeah.
Just not a great organization.
A horrible organization.
Carousel. I mean, yeah, I think all the tools are there for Stafford. Now, I'm sure, I think he has to take some responsibility for them not getting to the next level, but he's had a carousel of coaches, running backs, receivers. I mean, it's just never been any stability there, so.
Quick question, because of my brain, because Matt Stafford was also the last big money quarterback,
Mr. Guaranteed.
Last number one draft pick, with that big, what was it, $70 million he got?
Yeah, didn't he get like what, $50 million of it up front or something like that?
Yeah, something ridiculous. And then Cam Newton got drafted a year after at a discount. Thank you. All right.
Yeah,
but I can't remember. Did Matt Stafford did he have the luxury of Calvin Johnson?
He did, yeah.
Yes, he sure did.
Whew.
He had 9 years of Megatron.
Man, oh man.
Yeah, 9 years of Megatron. Only thing they had to do was go 0-16 and then draft Matt Stafford. That's all they had to do. Yeah, another tough one. Jeff Seibert, he says, once again, we got another one from Matt Stafford, another one from Phillip Rivers, and another one from Cam from 5 years ago. So he said Stafford, Rivers, and Cam Newton.
Okay. Trend continues.
Yep.
The trend continues. And speaking of foolishness, we got another dose of foolishness. We got Craig Burns talking about some damn Jimmy Garoppolo, but he'll get one with the Pats next year. Craig, put the phone down. Put the liquor down. Back away. They got rid of his ass for a reason. You see how this is working out in San Francisco? We know the defense got to the Super Bowl last year. And what is he doing now? The boy can't even stay healthy.
I mean, I think you're bashing Jimmy G a little bit, because I mean, he has had as a starting quarterback, he has a pretty good record, and the reason why he got shipped out of New England wasn't because of his play. It was the fact that he was threatening the GOAT. Like Bill Belichick wanted to move from Tom Brady to Jimmy G, and Robert Kraft said, no, that's not happening. Jimmy G shipped off. That wasn't because of his play. That was the beginning of the end of the New England Patriots franchise that now sees all their quarterbacks gone and had to pick up Cam Newton on the mend at cheap, and that did not work out, unfortunately. But yeah, he's definitely not the greatest quarterback to not win a Super Bowl. Let's be perfectly honest with that.
All right, move right along. We got some more foolishness. 3 times of foolishness these week, fellas. Brian Early with some more foolishness. He said Trace McSorley.
Steeler fan, having a little fun with us.
Yeah, having a little fun. Trace McSorley. Yeah, I think he got a TikTok song named after him or something like that. Yeah.
Is he the heir apparent in Pittsburgh though?
No, you mean Baltimore.
Oh.
No.
Yeah.
That
I didn't even know where. If I remember correctly, he played.
That's
in
correct.
State,
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, you talking about Pittsburgh? You talking about Mason Rudolph and Duck Dodgers in the 44th?
Oh, that's but. You mentioned he's a Steeler fan and probably a Penn State fan.
He's a Steeler. Brian Early is a Steeler fan and a Pitt Panther fan.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So he just threw Trace McSorley out there just for S&G.
Yeah.
And penalty box.
He did it so he could tell all his friends, "Hey guys, they said my name on Sports Gold Podcast. Look me up, episode 92. Hey, your wish has been granted, Brian Early. Appreciate it."
Brian Early was my partner driving me around in the UPS truck the last couple months. A big shout out to Brian Early.
Hey, shout out to Brian Early, the working man. Scottie D got another one. Got another listen to the Sports Bulls podcast. Brian, enjoy the experience. Enjoy the experience. Oh, man. Back like the Mac. We got Rodney Bellamy. He said Phillip Rivers, and I hate to say it, but that young gun up in Buffalo, Josh Allen.
That answer could change here in a couple weeks.
It could change.
Yep.
But also, that right there is not a bad answer.
I think a little early on it, though. I think it's a little early.
You think early,
Yeah.
because what is Josh Allen's ceiling right now?
Well, that's the thing.
Right now,
he's come a long way, B-Love. He's improved a ton, but out of 3 seasons, this has been his only one that's been really remarkable.
Best season.
But I think that's what Rodney's alluding to. Like he's alluding to the best current quarterback that hasn't won a Super Bowl.
I agree. I can understand that.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'll allow it. All right.
It'll be nice to see where Josh Allen finishes in the MVP voting.
3.
Yeah. Number 3. He'll be third. It'll be what that boy named Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers be
maybe Derrick Henry might be up in there. We'll see.
He'll be a strong 4th. He'll be a strong 4th. Hell, who knows? Devontae Adams. I don't know at this point. Farther down the list, we got another newcomer. Mike Leno. He said Phillip Rivers, not even close.
All right. Phillip Rivers is getting some love in here. Says he can't win the Super Bowl. All right.
The hard luck kid, Phillip Rivers. All right, so here we go. We got Rick Bryan, Deshaun Watson, anyone? I know a homer pick, but still.
That is absolutely not a homer pick, by the way.
He's saying he's a big Clemson fan.
That's what I'm saying. No, it might be a homer pick, but I think it's very true.
Yeah. I agree.
Very true. Deshaun Watson is also another player that has a high ceiling that could also fall into the Phillip Rivers, Matt Stafford, bad organization talk. God, the Houston Texans. Oh my Lord, I don't think I've ever seen an organization implode on itself so bad because they were loaded with talent. Their upside was incredible and just never really got it all together. Now they're imploding. They're literally falling apart at the seams. And And they go into this year with, if I'm not mistaken, they go into this draft without a first or second round draft
Screwed.
pick. Like they almost have to trade away Deshaun Watson, get more draft picks, and just start from anew. You got to but yeah, Deshaun Watson. Oh, absolutely, and I bet you there are a lot of suitors trying to get him on their team.
Yep, and it's bad. Deshaun Watson today on Bleacher Report, I saw a report that said Deshaun Watson told people he told the fans of the Houston Texans, stay home. Don't throw no rally for me. Just stay home.
They're going to do a protest for him. That's kind of asinine in itself.
There's certain things you can get a picket rally for a player like because they did that wrong too when he had to find out through social media who his new boss was.
Yeah, a lot of problems there.
Yeah, your franchise player has to find out through Twitter. You know what I'm saying? That he has that they picked a new boss, and not only that, they picked somebody that he didn't recommend.
Yeah. But I think what made him more mad was that they're keeping the vice president. I think he had a bigger issue with the vice president than the incoming general manager. I think that's what's really got him burning.
Deshaun Watson tweeted this. He said when they traded away DeAndre Hopkins, he was at a 2. He says right now he is at a 10. They have managed to piss this dude off 5 times more than taking away his number one weapon / freaking fellow were they teammates? I don't remember if they were teammates. I think they just went to Clemson. I don't think they were teammates. But either way,
they both went to Clemson.
You already know it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was I was the Clemson. That oh my goodness, I was almost like Houston was like my second team because of the Clemson.
I don't know if you realize this,
I was like,
Deshaun Watson was at Clemson. They won the national championship. They were co-champions with Pitt that year, actually. But
wow.
Anybody else, Eddy Kool? Anybody else answer this question?
Oh, this. Oh boy.
Anybody else answer that question?
God,
we can't relive the glory years of the Pitt Clemson national co-national champions, but we can't do that every week. But just want to. All right, choices of the voices. Anybody else?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Your first time listeners to the little thing we call Sports Bowls Podcast. And this is what he do. This is what we do. Bust chops, raise hell. All right, moving right along. Yeah, that is Deshaun Watson. That's a real sensitive subject. All right, Corey Logren, he's also with the foolishness too. Trevor Lawrence. Wasn't Trevor Lawrence in another Choices of the Voices poll? And he wasn't even pro yet?
Yeah, I think so. So
I can't.
And once again, there is nothing wrong with this answer.
No,
he's in the NFL. He's got an agent. He's declared for the draft. He is in the NFL. He is the number one draft pick. Everybody knows.
Bring on the water.
He's not in.
Bring on the water.
Give me another good answer, Eddy Kool. Give me another good answer.
That's it.
Yep.
I think that's it.
That's it. Yep.
That's how you conclude the Choices of the Voices with the ridiculousness of Trevor Lawrence being the best quarterback currently in the NFL that has not won a Super Bowl. Thank you very much for all these ridiculous answers.
All right, shout out to Clinton, Paul, Trey Duke, Jana Clem, Uncle Max, Jeff, Craig Burns, Brian, Rodney, O'Neal Bellamy. I said the whole man's name, but you get it. Mike Leno, Rick Bryan, Corey Logren, and Martin Tracy for their contributions in this week's edition of the Choices of the Voices. Scottie D, what say you?
I'm going to go with Philip Rivers like a lot of the others did, just because he had his, like I said earlier, he had his career. He had 5 years wasted out there with North Turner. He had Mike McCoy, who I completely forgot is his head coach for a few years. So I'm going with Rivers. I'm actually surprised nobody mentioned Matt Ryan because he was another guy that was an MVP and damn near had the Super Bowl one. And nobody said Dak Prescott. How about that?
Over to you, Be Live.
Well, see, this is what happens when you always go to Scottie D first, because I was actually going to mention Dak Prescott. I really was.
Do you think that's like, but he's not really an answer though, really.
He really is.
Okay.
I was going to mention, I was literally going to do the same exact thing you did, that nobody mentioned Dak Prescott and Matt Ryan. That's actually a very big surprise. But I've thought about this, and man, it's
It's the
tough.
Sean Watson,
It's tough
isn't it?
because no, it is not. No, it is actually is not. As much as I want to, I really want to. I really can I do this set over again and just go ahead and pick? Yeah, I'm actually going to nope. I'm gonna fight my fandom.
What's your answer,
Fight my
dude?
fandom.
Who is he?
I gotta go. I'll go with the consensus. Phillip Rivers, Hall of Fame. Did he ever get
No.
MVP? He never got MVP. God, always. A quick question, just has Drew Brees ever gotten MVP?
I think he has. I can't swear by it, but I feel like he did have it at least one year.
Okay, I was just thinking of quarterbacks in Hall of Fame quarterback, future Hall of Famers that are just living in the shadows of your Tom Brady's. They like at the end of the day when we're 20 years older and we're talking about these glory days like Uncle Max does right now. Couldn't help it. I couldn't help it. I'm sorry.
Another unprovoked swipe at Uncle Max.
Uncle Max,
He gonna be laughing all the way to the
sorry.
Super Bowl this year, though, buddy.
Yep.
Right. Oh man, Uncle Max, I love you. I'm Green Bay Packer fan to the max. But yeah, Phillip Rivers is always going to be like he's had a stellar career, just couldn't get over that hump. I feel like Drew Brees they're just been in the shadows of now, like, and then now you're seeing the tide turn toward your Aaron Rodgers and everything. But Phillip Rivers he's had a great statistical career. He's been able to, I mean, he's definitely top tier. It's just one of those things where he just never got that very elusive prize. I think would it be safe to say that Phillip Rivers
I think there's a definite comparison there. Yeah, I thought about that earlier too. I think there's definite parallel with him for sure. Because Marino's the same way. He never had a good solid running game, but he did have stability at head coach, which Rivers has not had. And to answer your question, Brees actually, I guess, did not win the MVP. Peyton Manning hogged 5 of them up while he was there. So
that's another name of this under the
Balls
shadow
hog.
like that. Yeah. Oh man, but it's not a bad, I mean, when you Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, Phillip Rivers. We've had a pretty good select bit of quarterbacks during, I would like to say, our era of football. This is like our I would say early 90s to present. I feel like that's our era, maybe.
Yep.
I'm okay with it.
That sounds
okay
about right. Yeah, man. You know, I'm looking at Phillip Rivers' number right now. 421 touchdowns. Over 60,000 yards passing. I think he's in the top 15 or top 10. That's a lot of yards between damn football. Yeah, the kid from Decatur, Alabama, at 39 years old, with 30 kids and 10 pairs of snakeskin boots.
I will see. I refrained. I thought about it so bad, talking about how many 11 kids he had. I was like, you know what, I'm not going to do it. But yeah, you're right. It had to be said. He has a lot of kids. Yeah, he really does.
He got a bunch of kids, and the quarterback knows how to shoot. Let's just say that. All right, so Scottie D, who's your pick again?
I'm going Phillip Rivers too.
Be live, you.
Consensus.
All right,
Rivers.
fellas, I was torn between two, but I'm gonna have to go ahead and do it. Matt Ryan.
Oh.
Ooh.
Yep, Matt Ryan. Matthew Thomas Ryan, also known as Matty Ice from the Boston College University. Another guy with big numbers. I think he slid into the top 10 of passing yards as well too, all-time career with over 55,000 yards and 347 touchdowns. 4 Pro Bowls, 1 MVP, and one of the most epic choke jobs in all of Super Bowl history. I don't want to say he suffers from inconsistent coaching because who was this? Was it Mike Smith?
Quinn.
Yeah, Dan Quinn and Mike Smith.
Jerry Glanville.
That was back then. Possible. Matt Ryan, he just suffered from a bad, just I don't know if it's bad luck or what. It was just bad. It's unfortunate that you be an MVP and not win the Super Bowl. That's how you cap off a perfect season. But I mean, Matt Ryan is pretty much for the most part of his career has done everything he could from staying healthy to staying out of trouble to not being a diva. But just can't win the big one. Just can't win the big one. I was gonna say Matt Stafford, but I'm gonna have to lean more towards Matt Ryan solely because he got the MVP that year, and he's got dealt a bad hand, man, in Atlanta. I mean, the only blessing to come out of that was him having to play with the world's greatest wide receiver, Julio Jones. And you thought that would have been the one thing to put him over the top, but apparently not, as he still is, at this point in his career, ringless. Hall of Fame, yes. Ringless, no. So you two say Phillip Rivers, and I say Matty Ice, Matt Ryan. I forgot. He got 30 comebacks and 38 game-winning drives as well, too. Only played in 10 playoff games. But, Matt Ryan. All right, fellas, I'm getting sad. With that being said, what's the question for next week's Choices of the Voices?
All right, we're going to stick on this Super Bowl topic here. And next week, I want to kick around with you guys. Of all the teams that you've seen win the Super Bowl, which did you feel was the least impressive team overall? Not necessarily the worst performance in that game, but the team you thought wasn't as good as most other Super Bowl winning teams. Least impressive Super Bowl winners. That's what we're talking next week.
Yep, the Super Bowl teams that when you won, you was like, eh.
Exactly.
Yeah, on next week's edition of the Choices of the Voices. Fellas, it's time to go home. Around the pepper. You know how we do it. 3 topics, rapid fire style, kind of, sort of, not really. Here to enlighten, entertain, and just have some good old plain fun. The guys going to find some current topics, but as me, I guess I'm the resident historian. I'm not as old as Uncle Max.
Wow.
But Uncle Max, you know we love you, right? We know. We love you. If we need some information, the hell with Wikipedia, we just gonna go straight to Uncle Max. Yeah, we just gonna go straight to Uncle Max. All right, so here we go. I'm going first. On this day in history, back in 1903, a new bicycle race was announced. Guess what name of it was, fellas? Anybody got any guesses?
Tour de France.
Ding, 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 ding. Yep, that's it. The Tour de France. Also associated with this date history of the Tour de France, in 2003, Lance Armstrong just said, you know what? Yeah, I did it. I took the dope. That's on this day in history. Yeah, Tour de France, tarnished. Him too. Over to you, Scottie D.
All right, so this is something I probably should have mentioned last week because this happened on January 7th. But on the 7th of January, the baseball world said goodbye to Tommy Lasorda at age 93. He was actually older than Uncle Max. Tommy Lasorda was 93.
We're making a dedication to a guy, and you had to complete the trifecta of picking on Uncle Max.
Let me say, he was older. He was 93. Spent his pretty much his entire career with the Dodgers. He was the manager of the year twice. Won 2 World Series titles. He was their coach from 73 to 76, and became the manager in 76 until 1996. This was interesting, the little thing I found on his Wikipedia page, but he was a pitcher, actually, as a player. And in May of 1955, he made his only start for the Dodgers. He was removed after the first inning after tying a major league record for 3 wild pitches in 1 inning. And he got spiked by Wally Moon of the Cardinals when he scored on Lasorda's third wild pitch. He was demoted after the game and never pitched for the Dodgers again. But when you think Dodgers, man, most of my lifetime, Tommy Lasorda is a guy you think of. And kind of fitting that they won the World Series in what was most likely the last baseball game you ever watched. So that was pretty cool. And also just 2 weeks ago, I believe it was, Vin Scully's wife passed away. And Vin Scully's, was the voice of the Dodgers for like 1,000 years. So little Dodger history there. But rest in peace, Tommy Lasorda. We had a fun ride watching you, buddy. Over to you, B-Live.
Man, oh man, one of the greats. 2021, you
Touching
ain't
stuff.
acting right. Right. So this is the time of the year where your boy B Live, as you know, I'm an avid Clemson football fan. But this is also the time where I transition because I'm watching more Clemson basketball. Because one of our listeners, Paul Odom, talked trash to me because he said that I like Clemson football but North Carolina basketball. Who does that? Well, I did, sir, because growing up you had two choices: Clemson or South Carolina in football, Duke or North Carolina basketball. That was just the choices. That's it. Clemson has never had really a storied basketball program, and North Carolina Duke, which is a little bit up the road. But here's the thing. I transitioned over. I noticed, and I mentioned this as well in one of my posts, because Clemson just lost in football, and, this repeat of 2020, I don't like it, that Clemson basketball was the highest-ranked basketball team in the ACC, which is a basketball conference. Strong basketball conference. And Clemson's the best team in it? Yeah, and as soon as I say that, they get demolished by Virginia by 30-some points. I'm like, oh, good Lord. I don't like Virginia. Virginia basketball is so boring because they just drag and it's defense. And I like football defense. I don't like basketball defense. I like, let's score. Let's go. But, yeah, I mentioned it. Clemson falls to 20. It is what it is. And this is, like I said, this is also my transition to college basketball because I really do. I love college basketball. And I want to see how March Madness is and how we get through this whole COVID mess. But, yeah, it is what it is. Eddy Kool.
All right. And speaking of college basketball, on this day in history back in 1974, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, they beat the UCLA Bruins that had everybody on the damn team, led by the legendary coach John Wooden in South Bend, Indiana, to end UCLA's record 88-game win streak. Yeah, so, the Fighting Irish, they got it done this time. Can't say the same for a few weeks ago. Over to you, Scottie D.
All right, so this past Saturday, right before the NFL kicked off, the UFC made its debut on ABC. First time it ever had a card on national television. It happened in the middle of the afternoon. And if you were watching, you watched Max Holloway absolutely destroy a guy by the name of Calvin Kattar. This was a fight that actually a lot of people picked Kattar to win. He even had a 50-42 scorecard after a 5-round fight. It was unbelievable. This guy just got battered and never went down. It was probably the most dominant fight I've ever seen where the guy didn't just took his beating and tried to fight back and didn't go down. I actually thought it should have been stopped in the 4th round. But anyway, it was a little appetizer because this week is the week, boys. We're getting Conor McGregor back in the spotlight. He's taking on Dustin Poirier. That's on pay-per-view on Saturday night. And I hope what Dana White said was true and that this is the Conor McGregor who is serious and he's ready to fight, and we should see him 3 times in the cage this year. Conor McGregor, I don't think he's the best fighter in the world, but he sure is the guy that moves the needle. So welcome back, Conor McGregor. I look forward to watching you on Saturday. Be Live, over to you.
All right. I can't wait for that fight, by the way. College basketball is going to bring such joy and excitement to be able to announce to the Sports Bros podcast world that for the first time since 2016, I hate them and they hate me, that the Duke Blue Devils are now
Something's missing. I knew it. I knew something seemed off.
Duke is not ranked for the first time since 2016, and that brings so much joy to my heart and disdain to Paul Odom's heart. Yes, I said it. And to Smooth the Star Walker, JR Speaks. Yes, your Dukies are not ranked. Who else do I want to call out right now? Jose, Irizarry. Your Blue Devils are not ranked. Let's see. Any other Duke fans I know out there? You know what? This show could go on for quite some time if I called everybody out. But yes, the Dukies are not ranked for the first time in quite some time. Eddy Kool.
Wow, you know what? I knew something seemed off. Why are we not talking about Duke and college football? Oh, they stink for the first time in forever. On this day in history, last year, the Kansas City Chiefs, they defeat the Tennessee Titans 35-24 in the AFC title game on their way to the Super Bowl and beat the San Francisco 49ers to win their first Super Bowl in about 11 years. It was quite a while. What a game to watch. What a spectacle to watch. We thought Derrick Henry was going to run up and down everybody. Pump them brakes. And what do you know, fellas? Almost a year later, and we're damn near in the same situation. Over to you, Scottie D.
All right. You know how some wins just feel sweeter than others? For me, it's like when the Yankees beat the Red Sox, or when the Cowboys beat the Eagles, or when the Pittsburgh Pirates win, just when they beat anybody. Well, one of those on my list you can add is whenever the Pitt Panthers beat Syracuse in college basketball. And it happened this past Saturday. Guys, we got a guy named Justin Champagnie who has been named the ACC Co-Player of the Week. He came back from a knee injury and scored 24 points, 16 boards. The Panthers win by 20 over the Orange. Take that, Jim Boeheim. I love watching Pitt win these games against Syracuse. This is a team I mentioned before. The Pitt is improving now with after the dreadful season 2 seasons ago. They didn't win an ACC game, and now they've already got a couple wins posted. So it's nice to have a team be relevant again. They're like Clemson, as you mentioned. They're all, this is their magic time of year. January basketball for Clemson is awesome. But Pitt at least brushing up against relevancy again with a big win over Syracuse. Keep your eye on Justin Champagnie, boys. Over to you, B-Live.
You said the man's name is Justin Champagnie.
Supernova in
the
sky.
All right. I just wanted to clarify that. And I'm gonna switch over to pro basketball and penalty box. Somebody's going in the penalty box. Anybody in the world that still believes that the earth is flat, penalty box, because you are associated with this dummy, sage burning, just off the deep end, Kyrie Irving. What he just said, you know what? I'm good. I'm not, just don't feel like showing up to work anymore. In any other job in the world, you just decide not to show up. And all three of us also restaurant guys, by the way. That's called a no call, no show. And usually, depending on the company you work for, whether it be the first one or the second one, the third
baby.
one, you usually get 5
grounds for termination.
Oh my goodness! But he just, you know what? I'm just not going to show up. And now he's now going to miss his 7th consecutive game because he wanted to hang out with. I think he's also part of the protocol, COVID protocol, because he was seen to be maskless around somebody I don't really give a 2 rats tails about, but because man, I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna say it loud and proud. If Kyrie Irving can somehow come back, he's also listed on the injury report as questionable. What injury? He got dropped on his head and is just a dummy. But I'm sorry. Bring it back. Let's be professional. If Kyrie Irving can get it, if he could just find a way to come back to some sense of normalcy in his mind, the Brooklyn Nets just wow. they somehow managed to recreate that simply recreate that Oklahoma City Thunder team that had James Harden as the sixth man. But now James Harden, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, holy Jesus. Do we put them in the finals now?
Let's see how this works
Nets,
out.
Lakers?
I'm not convinced. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it pans out. Little
premature. Yeah, we got.
I tell you what, they better, because they gave up like a dozen years worth of draft picks.
Yes, they did. I think they gave up 4 first rounders.
Yes, yeah.
And
it was a bunch. They gave up
4 first rounders. So, yeah. All right. Cool. Kyrie Irving, get it together.
I think B-Live, I ain't even playing. Better. I think there's something wrong with the dude. I mean, I'm not even saying that like as being funny.
Yeah.
I think there's some serious issues he has upstairs, and he does need to get it together.
You know, man, when it comes to Kyrie Irving, man, I think you have to prioritize. If you want to fight for the social justice movement, hey, go right ahead. No problem with that. If you want to hang out with your friends, just wear a mask. If you want to burn sage and get rid of oogie boogies, okay, all right, I get it. But you got a guy like Kevin Durant who hasn't played in almost 2 years or close.
He got
in 2019.
He got hurt in the playoffs. So yeah, he missed he missed an entire year.
Yeah, it was in the finals
from that injury.
Yeah.
Was it in the playoffs?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He got injured in the finals and didn't play at all last year. But he looked
phenomenal.
Even better.
He's in trouble. But yeah, at least you know what? If he's here playing, I just might want to bring my behind to work and let's work this thing out. Team chemistry, make things happen. And then they messed around and got James Harden too, who's happy. Houston was out. Houston, Texas. Can you please tell us what's going on with your sports teams? Okay. Your Texans want to get rid of everybody for a bucket of chicken, a Black and Mild single, a loose Newport cigarette, and a cup of chock full of nuts coffee. All right. Then you got Houston Rockets. They just can't. I don't know what the hell happened there.
The baseball team cheats.
And your Houston Astros. Your baseball team cheats.
Right.
I wish you had a hockey team so I could say something about them too. Houston, what in the hell, in the fundamental hell, is going on? You can't keep nobody. From what I hear, Houston's a great city, a great place to be. Home of the chopped and screwed music, the South Side dancing, North Side, South Side, East Side, West Side. One of the biggest cities in the country. But somehow your sports teams, they just, like an ex-girlfriend, they don't want to do right. They just don't want to do right. And you would figure that with all this firepower that the Nets have, they can make some noise. But now Kyrie want to do it. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. Anything else with this whole Pepper thing, fellas? Because I was about to go off on a tangent like I did last week.
That's a wrap for me.
Yeah. I felt it. Yep, I'm good to go. Got my 3 peppers out of.
All right. With that being said, that's another episode of the Sports Bros podcast in the book. Stamp, signed, sealed, delivered. Is yours. Scottie D, where can they find you?
Facebook for now. Coming to a MeWe account very soon. We'll talk about it later.
What are we doing again?
I'm scared. Be live. Where can they find you?
Oh no! It almost came out because it's a knee-jerk response in St. Louis, where the guns. Okay, you can find me most all the time at Max Speed Shop here in Fayetteville, North Carolina. You know the spiel. Hit us up: Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, our WordPress website. Instagram, there you know where to find us at this point in time. Sports Bros Podcast.
Eddy Kool, the HOC, you know where to find me. I'm all over the world. I'm worldwide. I'll post some links elsewhere, but yeah, you can find me on Facebook. All the Sports Bros platforms listed below the episode in the description box. You can check us there. Here, there, and everywhere. This is kind of early in the day. It is 4 o'clock on a Monday. As you know, we'll give it to you Tuesday. Be Live, you got anything to say before we get up out of here?
Man, oh man.
You
I
got
got
nothing?
I got nothing.
Scottie D, he had to run. I'm pretty sure he ain't got nothing to say either. But on behalf of the Money Man, Scottie D, and the Almighty Be Live, this is the HOC, Eddy Kool. And in closing, do something nice for yourself. And if you can, do something nice for someone else. Please be a blessing and not a burden. And as always, don't be an ass. Wear your mask. It's been another episode of the Sports Bros Podcast.
Hey, stick around, y'all. We got some bloopers for you.
Rodney Bellamy, well, he said favorite rivers, not favorite rivers, but
All right. Too many L's.
that muddish. All right, fellas, here we go. 3, 2, 1.